Thanks, Jerry, and great to be back here in Sydney and talking about dusting things off and coming back to the public face. I took my blue suit out of the cupboard and there were moth holes in it. It had been that long since we've been out here. So anyway, great to see some familiar faces, and thanks for listening to the Impact story. We are an early stage explorer, unlike the stories you heard in the first session, and here today to present we've got 3 rolls of the dice this year to deliver a world-class discovery on our exploration projects in Australia, at Commonwealth, where we're drilling at the moment, Broken Hill, where we're drilling next, and then finally at Dunia in Western Australia. And look, I don't use the term world-class lightly, but that's really what Impact was founded on. We were looking for a major discovery, and the way that we've done that is that we've acquired large strategic ground holdings in some of the most prospective parts of Australia. So at the moment we're drilling at our Commonwealth project, which is home to the giant Cadia copper gold mine. We're looking for something similar, and we've got drilling in progress there on a significant target at Apsley, which is very close to the Boda discovery. We also have a modest massive sulphide deposit there as well. And we will then move on to Broken Hill, which is obviously well known for its giant silver lead zinc deposit, but we've been looking for nickel copper PGEs there now for a few years, and we delivered some outstanding drill results towards the end of last year, and we'll be following those up hopefully by the end of May. And then finally, Dunia is a walk-up gold target that we acquired late last year, and then we've also put together a major ground package in Western Australia for Julimar lookalikes, which is obviously focused a lot of attention with Chalice recently. So a bit of a snapshot. We've just done a capital raise, so we're well funded, 4.5. We have 2 billion shares on issue, so you can load up on any day. And still very strongly supported by our 2 major German shareholders over here. Directors, we don't have as much skin in the game as we did, but we are well incentivised by performance options, and so we will certainly incentivise to make this company a success. And obviously the share price has been up and down. We sort of dusted off the moths of the share price here like everyone else back in March, April, and people waiting for the results of our drilling at the moment, about 1.7 cents. So we'll deal with Commonwealth first, where we have the drill program in place, and Katy Ridgeway down here in the southern part of the Lachlan. North Park's another well-known mine. RIU had it, sold it to the Chinese about a decade ago, and Evolution have had great success, of course, at Cowal. So we're here at the Commonwealth project. It's part of 3 projects that we have in the region. Day, Dawn and Pine Hill are the other 2, and we're just south of the Boda discovery here. So Boda, actually Alkane put out some very nice results yesterday, which followed up these results. This is a cross-section from Boda. I always show it for a couple of examples of some of the challenges facing everyone in the Lachlan. The key intercept is actually sitting about 350 metres below surface, and yesterday's intercept is actually 700 metres below surface, but certainly it's got the kind of grades at about 1 gram to 2 grams of gold and 1 to 2% copper, which characterised Ridgeway in the early days, one of the famous discoveries. It's always worth pointing out that it took 50 years to discover Boda, and part of the reason for that is that there were a lot of low-grade gold and gold-copper results near surface, and it took Alkane about 5 or 6 years to put the story together that they were actually on the outskirts of something that was likely to be better grade at depth. So it's a great discovery in a historic area. Scale on this map here is 5 kilometres here, and Boda sits here, and it's about 3 kilometres north of our ground. We've got the southern extension of the same intrusive complex just in here at Boda South, but really all of our action was down here at Apsley, where we generated a significant soil anomaly last year and followed it up with some geophysics. So this is what sort of got us excited, and zinc donuts, and hopefully after morning tea you're not too salivating at the thought of a donut at this time of the day. But we discovered a significant soil geochemistry anomaly comprised of gold, copper, platinum and palladium, and this is a summation of the anomalous values. It's 500 metres here, but the anomaly extends for 2 kilometres north-south and sort of up to 750 metres east-west. And the core with these 4 elements is sort of sitting in through here. And it's important that we look at the platinum and palladium because the particular type of porphyries that you have in New South Wales are alkaline in nature, and they're characterised by platinum and palladium. So having those 2 in there in the soils is very encouraging for us. Importantly then, it's ringed by this area of zinc, lead and manganese, forming this sort of hole in the middle of the zinc, which is where the term zinc donut comes from. And these terms are well known in porphyry copper gold exploration worldwide, and they're fairly characteristic of porphyries that are buried at depth. And excuse the scale on this, but this actually came out only on Monday from Alkane's presentation. This is actually shown, this is Boda at the same scale, and we can see in through here in the blue, there's actually a nice lead zinc donut with their gold copper moly in the core. That's from their downhole works. So we've certainly got all the right indications. There's copper at surface that had never been drilled before until we started, and some outstanding IP results, which we're drilling as we speak. Just to put that into context, here's the soil anomaly. There's some very nice magnetic features in through here. Here's some of our drill holes. You can see they're very widely spaced, and we're really just sort of testing some of the key areas to see what we're getting, and then we'll put together the alteration story and see if we can get vectors into the higher grade zones as we move along. So there'll be results from that coming out over the next month or so. But where the main action is going to be, certainly from a month from now, is the Broken Hill PGM nickel copper project, located also in New South Wales. And it's been great to travel back here. Like I think Greg said, when I took off to fly to Broken Hill about a month or so ago, I felt like I was going on holiday because I hadn't been on a plane for so long. And we had a magnificent time there in Broken Hill. Some great gourmet pubs there if you're interested. Mainly famous for its silver lead zinc deposit here, 300 million tonnes. There's a scale, 10 kilometres, and we've been progressively accumulating ground for a decade there, and we're one of the largest ground holders. We have a larger strategy for silver lead zinc, which we're working on, but really our focus for the last 4 or 5 years has been on this belt, shown in blue out through here, which has some of the highest grades of PGMs in Australia. And one of the standouts about it is that it has high grades of all 6 PGMs. So there's palladium, platinum, ruthenium, rhodium, osmium and iridium, and you can count on the fingers of one hand where you get high grades of all 6 PGEs anywhere in the world. So there's something exceptional about these things, and we've done a lot of research internally on it over the last 5 years. So late last year we drilled 3 target areas: Platinum Springs, Red Hill and Little Broken Hill Gabbro. Red Hill got some very interesting results, and we've got a diamond program to start there probably in about 4 weeks. I won't dwell on that, but we'll just look at Platinum Springs and Little Broken Hill Gabbro. So here it's the Platinum Springs. This is what we're trying to find. This is a small intercept. It's 0.6 metres. We drilled it 5 years ago on the back of an earlier drill hole that had exceptional grades, but it's 0.6 metres at 11 grams platinum, 26 grams palladium, 1.5 grams of gold, 15% combined nickel copper, 1.5 ounces of silver, 0.16 cobalt, and then it's got 1 to 2 grams of each of the other PGEs. This would be the most valuable ore in Australia if we can find a lot of it. So it's certainly a prize that's worth exploring for. And all of the work that's been done to date, certainly the drillings, apart from 2 drill holes, has been done down here at Platinum Springs, which is at the southern end of a 9-kilometre long trend, which is about half the sort of length of the Julimar trend, just for comparison. But the issue is often with PG exploration is how to focus, because there are rock chip samples all the way along this 9 kilometres that are basically dripping in PGE and nickel and copper. And one of the challenges that you have in PG exploration is that they're basically invisible to the naked eye. So this is a very boring looking rock. It's a gabbro from the north, from Lac des Iles. I went there 10 years ago, and you wouldn't think nothing of this rock in the field, and it's running 18 grams, mostly palladium. And so it's not detectable by handheld XRF because the detection limits aren't there. And so conventionally you have to send it off to the laboratory for assays, and it just leads to excessive delays, especially nowadays with the assay turnaround throughout the entire, almost throughout Australia. So we were fortunate enough that early on in the piece last year, we identified a multi-metal vector which has a direct relationship to the grade of PGEs, and also we can measure that ratio with a handheld XRF. And so we were in almost I would say, world first position to be able to guide the drill rig during our exploration program. And so on this map, on this graph here, we're showing on a log scale, the ratio, our secret ratio, and then we've got palladium, platinum and gold up here in 1 gram and 10 grams. And you can see that sort of at key ratio levels, sort of 2 to 5, that things are starting to take off, and then 10 to 20, and certainly above 20, we're suddenly seeing this significant log linear relationship. So that allowed us to sort of move the rig around as we went. And so this is a map of our drilling last year. It's at 200 metres, so we're looking at sort of 400 or 500 metres of strike through here, and it's that bend that we saw in the Morkai trend earlier on. And the key colours here are above 10 in the ratio in red and above 20 in white. And you can see that really things weren't hanging together at the first two prospects. Then all of a sudden at Platte Central, things were lighting up. And we were able to deliver the first coherent zone of mineralisation in over 40 years of exploration. And this is what we sort of discovered, and a number of things from this. At the base, so here's the ultramafic unit in purple, and we identified a particular channel-like structure, which are the host of major deposits around the world, the standout being Kambalda, which you'll hear people talk about in this later in the conference. And it's kind of got the right geometry at the base of the host unit, and there's multiple zones of PGs within it. But if you look at the hole IDs through here, you can sort of piece together, we used the ratio to move the rig backwards and forwards until we pinged the highest ratio point in through here, and we've got a ratio of, I think, a couple of 100 there, and we delivered 1 metre at 3% nickel, 1% copper and 22 grams of PGEs. So fantastic outcome, a great piece of exploration, and it's a tool that we'll be able to use extensively going forward. We'll just look at Little Broken Hill Gabbro. I did mention we've done a lot of research on these rocks, and it turns out that the Little Broken Hill Gabbro, which sits to the south of the project area, it's a unit that's about 6 kilometres long. We think it's related to our Red Hill intrusion over here. And amazingly enough, this is covered by sort of up to about 20 metres of alluvium. And until we started drilling, there was only one drill hole deeper than 25 metres deep under the entire intrusion. So it's another it's about 7 kilometres long in through here. And it turns out that it's the same age, about 800 million years old, and formed in the same place on the Earth's crust at that time. This is a reconstruction of the Earth's plates at that time, very close to the Jinshuan deposit in China during the breakup of this major supercontinent, as they're called at that time. And this is a very key geodynamic environment to form major deposits. And this shows Jinshuan at the same scale as Little Broken Hill Gabbro, and you can see there's a lot of similarities there. And this is 500 million tonnes at about 1% copper and 0.5 gram PGE, mostly underground, and the top surface, the top 200, 300 metres is completely barren over much of the deposit. So Broken Hill was certainly in the right place at the right time to form a major deposit, and so we're very happy that we might have just got onto something significant here. And this is another map of the Broken Hill Gabbro, showing the outline in red. It's about 6.5, 7 kilometres long. Again, until we started drilling, only one drill hole down here, deeper than 100 metres, and that was about 130. And so we've drilled the basal contact in numerous places along this area here, in particular the sort of the northern area here, about over 1 kilometre of strike, wide space drilling. And every drill hole that's entered the basal unit has delivered thick intercepts of low-grade PGEs, 60 metres at 0.4 gold, palladium and platinum, 56 metres in through here, and there are narrower zones of higher grade, 12 metres at nearly 1.5, and then there's 1 metre at 2.5 and metre at 2.6, etc. And this is trying to form one of those basal channels we feel in through here. And so we've got target areas to go and look at where there are some faults and things cutting through here, and we'll be doing the diamond drilling here to get a handle on what the nature of the mineralisation is, and then also moving further afield. This is completely unexplored and is analogous for sure to Julimar in the early days. And then finally, if that second roll of the dice doesn't work, we've got a third roll of the dice, which is our Dunia project in WA. We picked that up last year. It's a joint venture. We own 80% of it. And it came to us, there was a soil geochemistry anomaly generated in the 1990s by Western Mining that had a couple of shallow drill holes into it with some gold anomalism in the near surface, never followed up. And this scale here, that's 2.5 kilometres. So there's basically an undrilled geochemistry anomaly here, 2.5 by 2.5 kilometres in size. and small multiple intrusions, multiple mag anomalies, which we interpret as little intrusions. And in fact, it has very similar characteristics to the Burns discovery of Lefroy, which probably most of you will be familiar with. Burns was actually also discovered in the same exploration program as Western Mining discovered Dunia, and again, never followed up, and we've seen the results of going back and doing more detailed work there. This tenement has just been granted. We'll have an announcement out on that later this week. It's nothing confidential about that, it's just been granted. We'll start the heritage surveys as soon as we can and get to drill that in the third quarter this year as well. So that's the story. I know that people like to gamble, and we've got 3 rolls of the dice, as Shane is going to show you. If you just want to press the button, and come to the booth, and we can discuss it and roll the dice, and yay! Thanks for your attention.